Chapter 1. The invitation I almost declined. I never liked company events. The fake smiles, the awkward small talk, the unspoken hierarchy. But this time, something felt different. I had just crossed my second year as executive assistant to the CEO of Landon & Ross, an architecture firm in Manhattan that looked like it had been carved out of glass and ego. I still felt like I didn't quite belong. 2 weeks before the gala, the email popped up, ***, formal gala, Metropolitan Club, 7 p.m. Dress code, black tie. I rolled my eyes. I didn't even own a black tie anything, but then, something else happened. I saw his name, ***, RSVP list attached. Third line down, Lucas Brenner, my ex, the same man who'd called me a paper pusher when he left me, the same man who laughed when I told him I got the job with Landon. He used to say things like, "You're just going to fetch coffee for the real professionals." That was 3 years ago. He moved on quickly. I watched him flaunt his new girlfriend on Instagram while I was still living paycheck to paycheck in a tiny walk-up in Queens, but now I worked on the 29th floor of a Manhattan skyscraper. I managed the calendar of the most powerful man in the firm. I wasn't just anyone anymore. Still, something in me twisted, ***, do I really want to see him again, ***, I nearly declined. I hovered over the no button for a solid 30 seconds. But then I remembered the words he said the last time we met, standing on a subway platform at 116th Street. "People like you don't move up. You're safe." Predictable. I hit yes. And just like that, the story really began. Chapter 2. The red dress and the empty smile. I'll admit, I spent too much money on that dress. It was deep red, floor length, with an open back and a neckline just bold enough to whisper confidence without screaming for attention. I'd found it in a boutique in Soho the week before the gala. When I tried it on, the saleswoman said, "That color was made for revenge." I didn't disagree. The night of the gala, I stood in front of my mirror and practiced my smile, not the real one, the one I wore in boardrooms and client briefings. The smile that says, ***, I'm fine. I don't need validation. I know exactly who I am. ***. By 6:45 p.m., my Uber was stuck in traffic 5 blocks from the venue. The Manhattan skyline blinked above me as if it already knew what was coming. At 7:12 p.m., I stepped into the marble lobby of the Metropolitan Club. A string quartet played in the distance, and the air smelled like old money and expensive champagne. And then, I saw him, Lucas, standing near the open bar, in a midnight blue tuxedo that probably cost more than my rent. He was laughing with someone, 2 someones, actually. One was a woman with perfect posture and a necklace that didn't belong to a tax bracket I'd ever been part of. He didn't see me. Not yet. I could have turned around, I could have grabbed a glass of wine and blended into the walls, but instead, I walked in like I owned the place, because in some ways, I did. I had worked weekends. I had rewritten every executive brief for the past 6 months. I had earned my place here. As I passed the entrance, I heard someone call out, "Elena. There you are." It was Mr. Reed, my boss. A brilliant but reserved man in his late 40s, who rarely called anyone by their first name, let alone with enthusiasm. He gave me a nod of approval and said quietly, "You clean up well, Elena." My cheeks burned, but I smiled, ***, that moment mattered, ***, then it happened. I was reaching for a champagne flute when I felt it, ***, that presence, you know when someone walks up behind you, and your body knows before your mind catches up. "Didn't expect to see you here," he said. I turned. Lucas. Still smug. Still standing too close. He looked me up and down, and smiled like we were about to play a game, only he knew the rules. To red suits you. Very ambitious. I didn't respond. He tilted his head and added, "Still assisting? Or have you made it to stapler duty yet?" I laughed. It was either that or throw my drink in his face, but instead, I leaned in and said, "You'll see." He raised an eyebrow, like he didn't quite understand what that meant, but he would later that night, when everyone was watching, because my boss was about to grab the mic and the entire room would hear what Lucas never thought I'd become. Chapter 3. He said it out loud, and the room froze. The gala was in full swing. Waiters moved like shadows, weaving through the crowd with flutes of Prosecco and trays of crab cakes. The jazz quartet had shifted to something lively, but elegant. People were laughing louder now, the early evening stiffness melting into wine-fueled ease, and Lucas, he was making his rounds. He'd always been good at networking. Charming. Calculated. I watched from across the room as he chatted up one of the junior partners, his hand grazing the woman's arm in that same rehearsed way I knew too well. I was standing near the spiral staircase when I heard Mr. Reed's voice behind me. "We'll be giving out the internal leadership awards in about 10 minutes. Stay close." I nodded, nerves flickering in my chest. I wasn't sure if he meant I should stay close because I'd be handing something to him, or because I was about to receive something myself. I didn't want to assume. That's when Lucas approached again. He was holding a bourbon, smiling like he owned the room, and he raised his glass in my direction. "Still pretending you belong here," he said, casually enough that it almost passed as a joke. I froze for a second, but before I could respond, he continued, louder. This time, like he wanted someone to overhear. "It's cute. You dress up, learn the lingo, walk the part. But let's be real, you're still just someone's assistant." His voice was sharp. Cutting. Meant to sting, and it did. I felt the eyes of at least 3 people shift toward us. I stood still, refusing to look away. Then, it happened. He leaned in slightly and said the words that would echo in my head for weeks to come: "You'll never be more than an assistant." Just like that. It wasn't whispered, it wasn't private, it was said out loud, right in the middle of the Metropolitan Club ballroom, surrounded by clients, executives, partners, and yes, my boss. For a moment, it felt like time slowed. The clinking of glasses seemed to stop. The laughter died down just a bit. My breath caught in my chest, and then, from the stage behind us, a voice rang out, "Elena? Could you join me up here for a moment?" It was Mr. Reed. The microphone was already in his hand. I turned toward the sound, my heels clicking on marble as I walked forward. I didn't look back at Lucas. I didn't need to, because the room had just shifted, the air had changed, and something was about to happen that would flip the entire narrative. Chapter 4: The mic, the room, and my name on the screen. As I stepped onto the stage, the spotlight caught the side of my face, warm and blinding. My heart thudded against my ribcage like it was trying to punch its way out. Mr. Reed stood beside the podium, tall and composed in his tailored tux. He gave me a short, almost imperceptible nod, not the kind you give an assistant to fetch papers, but the kind that says, "Pay attention, this matters." He adjusted the mic, cleared his throat, and scanned the room. "Tonight, we're honoring not only the architects and executives who bring innovation to this company, but also the people who make excellence possible behind the scenes." The room quieted. Too often, leadership goes unnoticed when it doesn't come with a title. But real leadership, real impact, is visible to anyone paying attention. I stood still, not sure where this was going, hands trembling slightly at my sides. Then he clicked a small remote. The massive screen behind us came to life. Photos flashed, blueprints, team meetings, high-pressure project timelines. And in the corner of nearly every photo, was me taking notes. Directing traffic. Presenting slides, coordinating disaster recovery on the night a major client file was corrupted. Mr. Reed continued. Elena didn't just assist. She organized a cross-departmental project rollout in 4 countries. She solved a logistics crisis that saved the company $1.2 million. She edited and restructured every investor presentation we gave this year. And when we nearly lost a global client due to a language miscommunication, she flew to Geneva to fix it in person. A low ripple of surprise moved through the audience. My mouth was dry. I couldn't breathe. I wasn't just being acknowledged, I was being seen. "So tonight," Mr. Reed said, "I'm proud to announce the creation of a new position, Director of Strategic Operations, reporting directly to the Executive Board." He turned and looked at me, eyes calm but proud, and Elena, I can't think of anyone more qualified to fill it. There was a beat and then, applause. Real, loud, thunderous applause. I didn't hear all of it because something inside me cracked open. Not in a broken way, in a reborn kind of way. I glanced out into the crowd. Lucas was standing dead still, his drink was frozen at his lips. His date looked confused. Someone near him turned to whisper something, and then laughed. He wasn't the center of the room anymore. I was. Mr. Reed handed me the mic. I didn't have a speech. But I didn't need one. I just said. I used to think I had to earn the right to be in this room. But tonight, I realize I've been part of building it all along. More applause, and then I walked off stage. Slowly. On purpose, letting it all sink in. Chapter 5, What he texted that night, and how I replied. The gala ended around midnight. By then, I had shaken more hands than I could count, collected a dozen business cards, and dodged 2 half-drunk executives who suddenly wanted to grab coffee sometime. My cheeks ached from smiling, but not the fake kind. The real, stunned kind. The "is this really happening?" kind. Mr. Reed left early, as he always did. Quietly, efficiently. Before slipping out, he shook my hand and said, "Don't let anyone ever put you in a smaller room than you deserve." I tucked that sentence away like a gift. Outside, the city was humming. My Uber was 5 minutes away, and I was standing by the valet when my phone buzzed. Lucas, of course, the name lit up my screen like a bad memory. I almost didn't open the message, but curiosity won. Here it was, the exact text. Didn't expect that. You looked different tonight. Congrats on the promotion. Proud of you. No apology. No acknowledgement of what he said to me just hours before. Just vague flattery, as if I were still the same woman standing outside his apartment in the rain 3 years ago, begging for respect. But I wasn't. I stood there, in that red dress, the city lights dancing on the pavement, and realized something. I didn't want revenge. I didn't even want closure. I had something better now. Perspective. Lucas was part of my before. But tonight had rewritten my after. So I replied with 3 simple words. Thank you. Goodbye. And then I blocked the number. Not in anger. In peace. In power. That night, I took the long way home. I asked the driver to pass by the office tower where I worked. My name wasn't on the door yet, but it would be. Someday. I leaned my head against the window, watching my reflection blur in the city lights. I thought about every late night, every overlooked effort, every time I had to swallow my pride to keep going, and I thought of every other woman who's ever been told she's just something, just an assistant, just a mom, just support. But here's what I know now: there is no just when you're building the foundation other people stand on. There is no just when you carry a team without asking for credit, and there is no just when you're writing your own story. So if you've ever been underestimated, overlooked, or talked down to, remember this: one day, they'll hear your name, not whispered behind your back, but announced into a microphone in a room they never thought you'd own.